I'm Richard Lewis, reporting for cadred.org, and I'm here with Norway's representative at the Homestory Cup. It's Snute. So, first question. I thought you had a really good performance out of DreamHack, and perhaps surprised a few people in terms of how well you did. Has it got to the stage now where people's perceptions about you are changing? So, perhaps people have more expectations of you at a tournament, or do you still feel like an underdog?
I think the expectations for me as a player have increased, mainly because I've been doing well in the online tournaments. But I still have a little bit of trouble at LAN events. I think the performances at DreamHack was a good one, but I also feel that I could have done better. I'm still not used to playing on different computer setups, and for some reason it affects me a lot more than perhaps other players when I'm playing at a setup I'm not used to.
Is that sort of perhaps a lack of practice at maybe getting to offline events? I mean, do you think that's going to come with time? Because you are still quite a young player, let's not forget that.
Not exactly that young.
No, but I mean, in terms of how long you've been playing the game and whatnot.
That's true. I didn't play Warcraft competitively. I only played some casual Brood War, so I'm still not used to the fundamentals as well as maybe some other players from Warcraft or early Brood War. But I really hope I can get used to playing on different setups, because at the moment it's sort of like I cannot focus if the computer is acting up a little bit different, if it's a bit slower, or just tiny things that throw me off my game for some reason. But I'm working on it, and hopefully then I will be able to post some really great offline LAN event results.
Do you feel extra pressure being kind of like this lone Norwegian? Because the Norway scene doesn't have like a lot of players, a lot of talent. You're the torchbearer. You're the big star name from Norway. Does that impact on how you approach tournaments? Do you feel nervous?
Not exactly. I think it's sort of a good thing, because I don't have to play other Norwegians in those tournaments. But if I play in Norwegian tournaments, I usually get really nervous, because if I lose to someone there, then everyone expects me to win every single game, and the pressure is so huge for some reason. I know I shouldn't think about it, but for some reason I can't help but thinking.
Oh, you're only human, dude. Like.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I don't really feel any pressure being the only one from Norway. My performance is a little bit inconsistent, but I don't really feel any pressure being alone from Norway. I wish there were more though playing.
Well, that brings me on to my next question. That is the kind of Norwegian scene. It seems to be really far behind other Scandinavian countries. So Sweden obviously has a huge esports presence, produces great players in all esports disciplines. I think Denmark has certain aspects where it's ahead of Norway. You may disagree with that. I think Finland obviously has produced some great champions. Norway, on the other hand, seems to be behind those countries. Is that a cultural thing? Can you put your finger on what the differences are?
I'm not sure exactly. I think it's a cultural thing, and it also has to do with the living costs in Norway. Like, if you want to work with esports, then you need some solid sponsors and a way to sustain yourself, because living in Norway is really expensive, and very few are actually willing to put in the investment and the risk that it is to focus on esports and try to get something like, for example, the Homestory Cup to work. Like that, hosting an event like that would be really expensive in Norway.
Well, what about, was that part of the reason why you felt you had to move into the Ministry of Wind kind of home? I know you've been there since March. Did you feel kind of almost driven out of Norway because opportunities to compete and to improve were so limited?
Well, I was able to practice really well in my flat apartments, but I thought that the Ministry of Wind would be an upgrade in either way. And it's a bit sad to leave Norway, but the living costs are just too high compared to the value you get for it. So everything would just be better for me in Poland, and I think it's helped my play a lot, and it will only get better.
Well, what has being part of the Ministry of Wind brought to your game? If you were to maybe list the top 3 things that it's helped you improve, what would it be?
I think that I've been able to get on a good sleeping schedule. I'm still not accustomed to it. I have a little bit of trouble sleeping sometimes, but it's getting better. I feel my health is improving a lot. So the physical is getting better, and it's really important for my game too, because the second thing is that I started to play a lot more games. When I lived at home in Norway, sure, I would play maybe 25-30 games a day. But in the ministry, I'm aiming at 40 to 50, maybe even 55-60 games a day. So
that's a lot of games, bro.
Yeah, it's a lot. Currently, I'm sitting at 40 but it's really tough. It's easy to get exhausted the day after. So I'm working on improving my shape.
Well, this throws up some interesting questions. Sorry to cut you off, but I mean, you're playing those games, that amount of games. Like, what is that doing to you, sort of mentally? Do you feel like detached, like zombified? I don't know. I can't even imagine playing that much StarCraft in one day. I mean, I know the Koreans do it, but you know, for a European, is that intense?
It's a bit intense. It's a little bit difficult to keep the focus, but I also make sure to take short breaks in between every game, drink enough water, tea, everything to just keep me going. And we have small breaks at the ministry as well. But it suddenly does something to your brain. I mean, when you go to bed and lie down, then you still think about StarCraft. I think Naniwa also talked about this during his stay in Korea, that all he could think of was StarCraft. So it affects you a bit, but you get used to it eventually.
And as well, you talked about your health. I mean, can you say, well, you said you felt healthier. What kind of improvements health-wise? I mean, what made you feel unhealthy? In what respect did you feel unhealthy?
In Norway?
Yeah, prior to your move.
I didn't really exercise as much, and in the ministry we have our own gym, and we go outside in the garden, play some ping pong, chill out, you know, sunlight and stuff. I didn't really move out, was a little bit of a basement dweller in Norway, and when I was making food in my apartment, it used to be quite simple things, whereas the food in the ministry is really healthy. So it's just a general good improvement in every single aspect, and I'm slowly but steadily feeling better and happier with more energy every day, so it's cool.
Coming to the Homestory Cup, I know obviously you're kind of one of those names that maybe aren't perceived to be a top tier player. Were you really pleased to be invited and be in this kind of company, have the chance to play Koreans in an offline setting and stuff?
Yeah, I was very grateful for the opportunity. I honestly didn't expect it, because there are lots of players that deserve to be at an event like this, but the spots are limited. But yeah, I was brought in as a replacement, and it would be too bad to turn it down. And yeah, it might have been difficult to find other players to come, so I'm just really happy to be here, and competing with the Koreans and the other players was a really great experience. And I'm very happy with my result too.
Well, I was going to talk about that. I mean, if there's a result that's going to stand out for you in particular, or maybe not even a result, just a performance, what was the high point of this particular competition for you?
For me, it was beating Mana, obviously. That's the game that probably got the most focus on my games. Everything came together in the third game, I feel. Used a build that was perfect against what Mana was doing. So,
was that luck, or had you planned for that?
No, I often try to get into the mind of my opponent and think what he will think that I will do, and sort of think 2 steps ahead. And against Mana, it worked out perfectly. In the first game, I knew that he would have a lot of things planned. And would have many ideas for the game and how to approach the series. And I assumed that he probably would be thinking a bit too much. And I know that he's oftentimes a little bit greedy, so I just went for a big bailing bust. That made completely no sense. But you know, when you're caught up in the game, making so many plans, then you all of a sudden forget to scout once. And I didn't take my natural base, which is like, it's a really bad all-in, because all you need is a probe scout, and that ends it all. But I knew that he would be. It would be likely that he wouldn't think of it. And in the second game, I was also getting an advantage, but my mechanic slipped, because I was very tired after traveling. It was a last-minute notice for me to get here. I was asked like almost the day before, like close to the night, so I didn't really get as much rest. And the first day I was so exhausted. Like after the second game, I was like completely shattered. Felt really down. My eyes were like burning. But then I pulled it together in the third game, because I knew that he would either go for a 2-base Immortal All-In or a 2-base Robotics Expand. I played a lot with Mana, like 15 games, no, 12, something like that, the last 3 weeks. And I've won almost all games. So I was really confident against him. I know a lot about how he's playing. And he didn't, as long as he didn't pull off anything unexpected, it would be likely for me to win, and it didn't, so it all worked. But I took some chances. If he opened Phoenix, I would be in a lot of trouble, for example.
What goals have you set yourself for the remainder of the year and moving forward into the next year? Because I don't know how many of the tournaments you'll be attending this year, but if there's one thing you realistically want to achieve to prove that you have made this improvement, which I think is evident that you have, what would it be for you? What do you think is the next step that you have to go to?
I want to do really well at the IPL 5. I have the MLG Summer Arena coming up, and after that it's the WCS. And after that, it's the IPL 5 sometime. And my goal now is just very focused on IPL 5 and doing well in that tournament.
What is doing well at IPL 5? What is the minimum target you want to achieve? Tough question, I know, sorry.
I really want to get into top 16 or possibly top 8. That would be great for me. I'm not sure exactly how many players will attend. I'm not sure, like 60, 64 maybe.
I think that we were looking at it earlier. I think it's about 64.
Top 16 would be really good, and top 8, of course, winning would be great too. But I don't know exactly how much I will improve until IPL 5.
And just finally as well, I think you're one of those players that a lot of people do. You are gaining this fan base, and you're getting a lot of interest from people now all across the world, not just Norway, not just Europe. How can people sort of keep in touch with you? What plans do you have? Because you don't seem to be as prolific a personality on the scene as some other Europeans. Do you have any plans to change that?
I don't know. I'm not in this for fame or money or anything like that, so I'd like to keep a low profile. But for anyone who's interested in following me, the best way to get information is following me on Facebook. And then you can just search for facebook.com/glsnute. And yeah, I usually post stuff there, and I also have a Twitter, glsnute.
So no plans to become a pro streamer or caster or anything like that?
No, I used to do a lot of streaming with commentary before when I was living in my flat, and that's how most of the people got to know me, because they really enjoyed the commentary. And now that I moved to the ministry, it's not as easy to do this commentary, and I miss it a bit. But I know that it's a little bit disturbing, and it also takes for the other players, and it also takes a little bit of time away from my practice. Like I learn a lot faster from my losses now. I can more easily identify why I lost. Before, I usually had to spend a lot of time viewing the replay, and even though it's really good to look into the replays after you lose, because you find so many tiny details, then at the level I'm at currently, I feel like it's more important to focus on the big things, because the reasons why I lose are like often major mistakes, and until I can fix those, then it's better for me to just grind ladder games and focus on the big trends. But yeah, hopefully I will be able to get back to commentary and streaming.
Well, I hope so too, but most importantly, I just want to say it's great to see you making all the improvements that you are, and you're an affable person. It's great to talk to you. Thanks a lot for taking the time to talk to us today. Really appreciate it. To all the people out there at cadred.org, do stay tuned to the website. We're going to have more video interviews just like this one from him at the Homestory Cup 5 in Krefeld.